Breaking news as we come on the air tonight. Millions of Americans hunkering down along the Carolina coast, bracing for round one of a multi-day onslaught from Hurricane Florence. The gargantuan storm stretching across 500 miles with wind gusts topping 100 miles an hour. And add to that, torrential rains. But all eyes are on that dangerous storm surge already hitting 10 feet in parts of North Carolina. ABC's chief meteorologist Ginger Z joins us now from Wilmington, where she's been tracking the storm. Ginger, what are you seeing?
Well, Juju, right here in Wilmington, we're going on about hour 7 of not just the outer bands, but now getting closer to the center of that storm. Florence closing in on us here. And you can see behind me, obviously, gusty winds. We've had gusts to 53 miles per hour. Remember, we're on the left side of the storm, which is the less dirty side, as we call it. The real peak gusts have happened north and east of us, 105 on land already. You're starting to feel one of the gusts right now. The last couple of hours, our power actually has flickered in and out, went away for a couple of hours, as has about 150,000 of our neighbors. Let me take you to the radar and show you what's happening at this hour. It is east of us by 50 miles, moving north and west at 6 miles per hour. There's a tornado watch up because as those bands come on shore, they interact with the friction of the land, and then you're going to have little spin-ups. That's just one of the threats, of course. On top of the wind, remember, it's the wind that's dangerous, but the water that could kill with this storm. And that's why the track is so important, because the slowdown, that almost stationary movement, and then making landfall later this morning, we're talking about somewhere around 7 a.m. or so, just north and east of where we're at, it will track inland and still be a rainmaker through the weekend. So it will eventually, again, get rid of the storm surge threat, which is still on, by the way, and you said up to 10 feet already. But some of those rain totals, 30 to 40 inches, Juju.
And clearly the storm surge is what everyone's keeping their eyes on. Ginger Z in Wilmington, North Carolina, thanks. And at this hour, statewide power outages are plunging, as Ginger said, more than 160,000 customers into darkness. And with nearly 2 million people under evacuation orders, some 12,000 are already packed into storm shelters. ABC's Amy Robach is in Wilmington, out on the marina. What's it like there now, Amy?
Hey, Juju, yes, so we're getting some rain, we're getting some wind with some wind gusts here. Nothing too severe yet, but all eyes are on the marina here behind me. We have the Cape Fear River, and there have been a lot of concerns that this river will flood this downtown area of Wilmington. It's a historic area, and so many people have boarded up with sandbags, and frankly, a lot of people have left town, and that is certainly a good thing. We were walking around downtown all day today as the storm ban started to come in, and it truly was a ghost town. This is normally a bustling area with a lot of residents. We've certainly been hearing about this storm for some time, and many residents took heed, and now we're seeing this come in. And it's never been truly about the wind speed. Now that we're at a Category 1 hurricane, a lot of people are pointing that out. It's the rain and the water that we're worried about. We know that we're at high tide right now, but there's another high tide coming at noon, and that's where a lot of people are concerned the real flooding is going to take place. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on everything happening here along the Cape Fear River, and of course further on the coast. We're about 20 minutes from the coast here in Wilmington, Juju.
Absolutely, and I'm impressed that you're staying healthy as well as staying safe, Amy. But I know you've been watching people prep for this storm for days now.
That's right, and people really have been heeding the warnings. There are so many people, in fact, 7,000 people at a local hospital who are in critical need of power. They can't have the power go out at some of these hospitals because they're on life support. They need the electricity to stay alive, and so there are workers here ready to go to pump that water out, to keep the power on with those generators with a lot of gasoline at the ready in case power goes out. They are expecting that to possibly happen. In fact, we just saw a power flicker here right now.
Can see it.
And I don't know if you can see that. Yes, the power just went out right next to me. So this is the concern, the rolling power outages for people who depend on power to stay alive in some of those hospitals. So many people at work here at the ready trying to make sure that people stay safe, they stay alive during this storm, as it will be a long one here for the next several hours, and some people are saying days.
Absolutely.
Here in Wilmington.
All right, stay safe, Amy Robach from Wilmington, North Carolina. Thanks. And across the region tonight, everyone from ordinary residents to first responders and thousands of members of the National Guard have been bracing for Florence's fury. Tonight, as Hurricane Florence moves in on the southeast, fierce winds and relentless waves bearing down on the Carolinas. ABC's Victor Kendo is right in the thick of it.
We're near the mouth of the New River. It runs from the coast all the way up through the city of Jacksonville, North Carolina. Just take a look. These waves are crashing right up over this dock. A lot of this water, it is going to be pushed inland, and it will lead to a lot of flooding.
The entire region bracing for a long night.
This is Kitty Hawk Pier behind me, and these massive waves just keep slamming against it. You know, in parts of the Outer Banks, we've been seeing wind gusts of 70 miles per hour, and this is just the beginning.
Earlier today, the hurricane's outer bands crashing ashore at North Carolina's Barrier Islands in North Topsail Beach. Waves crashing through this home, knocking down walls. Water surrounding homes. This garage door smashed. In Avon, strong waves hammered this pier. And in nearby Frisco, ocean water flowed like a river down Cape Hatteras Pier Drive, washing through motels, tossing fish ashore. Authorities have warned it's almost certain that this region will see catastrophic flooding. Rain totals predicted to reach 40 inches or more. A 13-foot storm surge expected in some spots. Emergency personnel have been prepping. Thousands of National Guard called up. Our David Muir was with Wilmington's chief of police.
I see a biblical proportion flood event.
There is already help coming from all over the country. Authorities telling residents here to prepare for days without power, perhaps weeks. They also feared the hurricane could flood some 16 nuclear reactors in 3 states. Some 12,000 people are in shelters already. They are opening more. The eye of the storm still hours away.
Right behind us here is Cape Fear River, looking angrier really by the hour here. We've had these bands of rain and destructive winds for several hours now.
And everyone on the ground preparing for impact. Now, the most devastating impact of the eye of Hurricane Florence is still hours away as the center of this swirling monster inches towards the coastline, slowing to a crawl. Let's bring in Sam Champion. This is a lumbering beast, Sam, and yet downgraded to a Category 1. We shouldn't be lulled into a false sense of security?
Yeah, I don't want people to look at the number. Number really has a lot to do with wind speed here. And so if we said a 1 was 90 miles an hour, a 2 might be 100 miles an hour, you know what I mean? So there's not that big of a difference on wind. And this storm is going to be in one place for hours and maybe even a full day, Juju. We may not see the center, the eye of this storm, making a point of landfall by noon tomorrow, may not even make it by then. And so until that eye makes the land, one of our biggest concerns is going to be storm surge. Then we've got everything else. We've already had tornadoes, we've already got flooding going on, but let's talk about this storm surge a little bit. So these are the numbers that we're looking at. Anywhere from 7 to 11 is the top right now, but I think we're going to go over that number just based on the slow movement of this storm. And the problem with the Carolina coast, and I mean North Carolina and South Carolina, is it is loaded with all these little bays, little estuaries, little inlets, rivers that go well inland, miles and miles, 60, 100 miles inland. And so that's going to take the flooding in. If you look at where those arrows are going, that's the wind direction now, and it pushes that water right up the coastline and right inland. So that's going to take not just the coastal flooding, but it's going to push that water inland with the rivers as well.
And that is why there are warnings for life-threatening flooding. Sam Champion, you're going to stay with us. We're going to get more updates, but we'll be back right after this.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.